Okay, so what's the importance of all this half step and whole step stuff? This is how we build scales. We're going to talk about major scales, and scales are built with different patterns between whole steps and half steps. So we're going to start with the C major scale. And what the scale is, it's just going from one note to the next note. So a C major scale is going from C to C. So I have here C, D, E, F, G. And then remember the musical alphabet only goes up to G. So I go back to A, B, C. So I have from C to C. So what is the whole step and half step pattern? Well, how far is it from C to D? So C to C sharp is a half step, and then C sharp to D is another half step. So from C to D is a whole step. And then we have our next notes from D to E. How far is that? D to D sharp is a half step. D sharp to E is another half step. So we have another whole step. I have these W's here for whole. And then E to F. Well, there's no black key in between, so from E to F is a half step. And then from F to G. Well, F to F sharp is a half step. F sharp to G is another half step. So this is a whole step. G to A. So G to G sharp is a half step. G sharp to A is another half step. So G to A is a whole step. A to B. Well, A to A sharp is a half step. A sharp to B is another half step, which is a whole step. So A to B is another whole step. And then you're going to have to use your imagination if the keyboard starts over again. I didn't put the long, big keyboard here, but there's no black key in between. So from B to C would be another half step. And why does this work? Well, if I was to sing this scale, I believe it's because of this B, C. So C, this starting C note, means this is the home key. This is going to be our start and our resolution. It's going to start in C, it's going to end in C. This way it gives us that feeling of closure. But also, this seventh note, this final half step, if you think of Jaws, the whole basis of that is this tension release, that T, Do, T, Do. So if I was to sing this scale rather than play it, because I think it's just, I'm probably not singing in C, but you get the idea of a major scales. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. If I was to just stop on this B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, there's a tension there, there's a cliffhanger until we get to that C, release. And that's what's so important about this. So what if I wanted to do another scale? And I'm going to start with a fifth note. So you can see I have numbers underneath here, and the fifth note is G. And I'm not going to tell you why just yet, but we're going to build a G major scale. So there's G, and I'm going to go from G to G. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And now, put this back to where you can see it. All right. So I need a whole step. So G to A, G to G sharp to A. That would be is another half step, so there's my whole step. I need another whole step from A to B. A to A sharp is a half step. A sharp to B is another half step, meaning making a whole step. And I can even use it up here. If I look right here, A to B is a whole step. And then I need C, or I'm sorry, I need a half step. So from B, and a half step from B is C, so this works out. And then I need a whole step. Well, C to C sharp to D, there's my whole step. And then I need another whole step. So D to D sharp to E, and there's my other whole step. And then I need another whole step. E to F, that's not a whole step. There's no note in between here. So this would actually have to be, if I'm going a whole step, E to F is a half step, F sharp. So let me see, I had trouble when I was doing this video the first time putting in the right note. Let me see if it will let me make this an F sharp. Great, there we go. And then that means that this F sharp to G, well, here's the F sharp and the half step to G. What if this wasn't sharp? Well, it doesn't give that same tension release. It doesn't give that same Jaws feeling of T, Do. It would give a little bit lower than that. It's really hard to sing because our ears are really used to that. So the other part that you can do, if you looked at what I did, I split this scale into two 4 notes. There's C, D, E, F, and then I took the last 4 notes, the G, A, B, C. These are called tetrachords. So this is one of the cheats of music theory. How do I build the next major scale? Well, and the nice thing about this G is it only has one sharp in the scale. So if I do this cheat that I'm going to show you in a minute here, it's really easy to figure out. It keeps the patterns the same. And call it the circle of fifths, we go in the fifth note. So if I start on the fifth note and I go, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm going to copy this note, copy the second tetrachord, these last 4 notes, and I'm going to paste it onto my next staff to give it the next 4, to make it the start of the next 4 notes. Now, I can see my notes are going to be, I'm going to start on a D scale. Now if I keep going up, we're going to get into a whole lot of ledger lines, so I'm actually just going to pull this down and make it start here so we can kind of keep to the staff. And what I did with the scale before, I took the second tetrachord, the G, A, B, C, made it the first tetrachord, added the rest of the notes, and then sharped the 7th degree. So from my previous scale, from that G scale, we have D, E, F was already sharp, so we're keeping it sharp, G. Then I'm going to add A, B, C, D, but the rule, we need to sharp the 7th degree, the second to last note, to get that T-do sound. And now I have my major scale, and D has 2 sharps. C had no sharps, the G major scale had 1 sharp, the D major scale has 2 sharps. What's my next major scale going to be? Well, I'm going to go to my 5th note. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to start on A. I'm going to copy this, put these on the notes below. I'm going to get rid of these letters right here. I don't know how they got over here. Not worried about it. But, okay. We have A, B, and C sharp, because now we know from up here it was a C sharp and the tetrachord D. And we're keeping whatever was sharp before sharp. So I would have an E, and then if you look at your D scale, this F is already sharp. It remains sharp. So I would have F sharp. We would add G. Oh, let's go back. We'd have G, and then A. But what didn't we do? We got to sharp that 7th degree. Got to sharp that second to last note. So my A scale is going to have A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, and an A. You can always double check this with that whole step, half step pattern. I just think this way is easier. So let's keep going with this. What would the next note in this circle of fifths be? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is an E. We're going to copy this. Whoops, we didn't copy it, we cut it. We're going to copy this and then paste this. And I'm going to lower it just to keep it on the staff. So I have E, F sharp, G sharp, A, and then B, and if I look up here, my C is sharp, so this would be C sharp, and my D isn't sharp, so I'm going to have a D right here, and then an E, but I have to remember that that D was our second to last note, so I'm actually going to make this a D sharp to complete that pattern of whole steps and half steps and give us that final T-do sound. If I checked, this will be a whole step, a half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. 2 wholes and a half, and then 3 wholes and a half gives you a major scale. So I need to go to my next note, or the next scale. It's going to have, well, this has 1, 2, 3, 4 sharps. It's going to have 5 sharps. Following the circle of fifths. Well, B to E. All right. I'm actually going to lower this too, because I just think it'll keep it on the staff a little better. And I got to really think about my notes here. Are they going to be sharp or not? Well, F sharp is, F sharp, well, let's go here because it's the scale before. F's are sharp, so F sharp. G's are sharp. So G sharp. Whoops. So G's are sharp. Well, it didn't let me put the sharp in. Let me try it again. I'm going to put A, and then B. Now we remember, even if it's not raised in the previous scale, in order to make the new one, we raise that seventh note. So we have B. All right. Now, you may think this is it. Well, let's keep going because I think we have two more scales we can do real quick, and I got to put some more notes in here. All right, so now let's go with the next scale is going to be an F sharp scale. And let me just show you, I can fill in the notes. So I can do C, D, E, F, and then see what's already there and what needs sharp. Well, B is good. C, well, there's a C sharp, so we know the C has to be sharp. And the D has to be sharp. And we can see that this is the second to last note. Well, let's skip that for a moment. We need to go from F sharp to F sharp. So we know this is going to be an F sharp. And then we raise the seventh degree by 1/2 step. Now think about this. We need to keep the notes in alphabetical order. F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. But E to F sharp is a whole step, and we need a half step. So what we can do, this is where the enharmonics come in. What we can do is we can still raise this 1/2 step, but I'm going to be calling it, oops, instead of calling it, I'm going to call this an F sharp. I'm actually going to play, or I'm going to call it an E sharp, and I would actually play a regular F right there, because a regular F to an F sharp is what gives it the that half step feeling. This way I keep the notes. It still goes F, G, A, B, C, D. Oh, and I didn't sharp the D there, because if I look over here, D is sharp too. Let me put that D sharp in. This is why, instead of just refer, it doesn't skip anything. We don't say F sharp G, we don't say F, G, A, B, C, D, F, F sharp, and we're completely missing the E. It allows us to keep it in alphabetical order and just refer to this note by its enharmonic note, so we're still in alphabetical order, but we're still playing the right key. Let me add one more key here, because it'll get a little bit more complicated. Let me fix that real quick. And then add the rest of the notes. And make this the right way. Sorry you have to watch me do this. And let's get rid of these letters. Oops. And let's pull the scale over one more time. You know what, let me add one more note to the next page because it'll help us see the whole scale here. Sorry you have to kind of sit and watch me do, but I think the rest of this has went really well, and I'd rather not do it over again if I don't have to. Let me just pull this down to where I think you can see it. And I'm going to lower these notes a little bit so we don't run off the staff too much. All right. So I have C sharp, D sharp, E sharp, F sharp, and I know the rest of my notes are going to be G, A, B, C. And I have to remember that I already have G's were already sharp. Oh, crap. If you don't get it perfect, and then it takes the sharp away. So G's are going to be sharp. A's were already sharp. No, trying to put the right note in. Sorry. Get so close to the end and I mess it up here. A's are going to be sharp. Let me see if I can get rid of this other note here. There we go. A's are going to be sharp, and we already know, because it's a C sharp scale, that C's have to be sharp. So this one is going to have to be sharp. And we raise the 7th degree. So that means this B is going to have to be sharp. And it's the same situation as in that F sharp scale. We referred to it as an E sharp, even though you're going to be playing an F. I have a C sharp scale, but right here, I can't play a regular B, which would be called a B natural, because for a regular B to a C sharp would be a whole step, and we need a half step for that sound, and to complete our whole half pattern. So what we do is we keep it in alphabetical order, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and we just refer to this by its enharmonic name, B sharp. Also, the easier way to think about these notes that are sharp, and I will show you this with the other ones, is if C major scale had no flats and no sharps, but a C sharp major scale, everything is sharp. Hope you understood that. If you can, leave comments on it. Don't be afraid to leave questions. But I'm going to end it right here before we go on to any other lessons.